if you're asking the question about how many calories you should burn each day or your daily limit, you're asking the wrong question. It's like you're cheating on a test. Now, before we go into cheating on a test, I do want to say, oftentimes you've been told by authority figures, doctors, and so forth, that calorie counting helps you lose weight. And it does, but only for a short amount of time. So I'm going to go in today about why calorie counting and using these calorie counting apps like MyFitnessPal or something is actually like cheating on a test. Not to say you're a cheater or that your intentions are bad. Okay? Now, before we go on, if you like this video or have a question or comment, leave that down below. I'm also going to leave a link to a video where I have dived into this topic before about burning calories and how there's a bunch of false assumptions that people don't take into consideration when they begin this journey. And finally, I was a personal trainer. I've talked to dozens, if not probably dozens of people, not hundreds, but dozens of people who say calorie counting doesn't work for them. It's inconvenient. Have you ever tried it where you immediately have to log your calories right after you eat? Or you try to remember at the end of the day and then you don't even remember what you ate? It's a pain in the butt. And oftentimes what I see is that people might do it for like a week and then it's just inconvenient. It doesn't work. It's not a great lifestyle change. Now, here's what calorie counting does do. It gives you that feeling that you're making progress, that you're understanding your body and how much is going into it. It gives you a neat little solution because the doctors, they tell you, just eat, say 1,500 calories a day. Use this app to measure the calories. It's very neat and precise, and humans like neat and precise things. But guess what? Calorie counting is like cheating on a test. I remember back in the day, someone would give me like a study guide. So not even cheating, but let's say they give me a study guide with all the answers to the test or all the questions that the test will ask. So I remember back in school when I was studying psychology, and this is not good, by the way, but this was before I became a monk and before I really found my life purpose. But I remember like just zoning out in class, and then the teacher would hand out a study guide. I'd go home, look up the answers to the study guide, plug in the answers, I'd take the test, get an A, and then I'd forget everything that I learned. And I did this for every class. So by the end of college, I basically learned nothing. It's because I would just temporarily learn something. I didn't actually change my underlying knowledge. I didn't change my underlying perception. And that's what calorie counting does. It's like having a study guide for a test, but then you don't remember anything. Or it's even like cheating. You don't get anything out of it. Let me explain in more detail. When you look at that app, you are saying to your body, I don't trust you. I need to manage you. That's what you're saying to your body. You're saying, body, I don't trust you. You're bad. I need to count how many calories you're eating because you eat too many. And if you don't, and you're out of control. So you're implanting a belief into your body that your body is not to be trusted. Your body needs to be managed. Your body is fundamentally flawed. Every time you look at that calorie app, you're implanting that belief into your body. And then calorie counting is this logical activity. You're not learning. You're not becoming a better person. So for people who really lose weight and keep it off, and not even lose weight, because we don't focus on weight here. We actually focus on changing your habits, changing your mindsets, changing your psychology, changing how you deal with emotions differently. None of these things change when you're calorie counting. So how you can start changing your psychology and habits and mindset, let's just go into your physiology, right? Changing the way you relate and perceive your physiology. A lot of this involves studying your body, where you do like a science experiment almost. You look at you look at what you eat, you see how it feels in your body, or you examine how much you eat and see how that feels in your body. And then you do another science experiment. You do that with another food. You see how hungry you are, how it feels, how full it makes you. You do science experiments with different foods. And you keep track of the results. It's like you're studying. But this is real study. This is food. It's like you're studying with food, and your body is the laboratory. This is real studying. This is real studying. It's not cheating. When you're getting a calorie counting thing, it's like someone is just trying to like shortcut that knowledge. So let's say a burger is 500 calories, right? And then the doctor says you should only have 1,500 calories. So you eat this burger, and then you think, you don't feel, you think, oh, okay, that's a third of my calories. But there's many more nuances when you're actually digesting it, and how it tastes and how it feels and how emotionally satisfied you are. So the calorie counting, it's like it's stripping you of all this valuable knowledge and only having you focus on the calories. But there's so much more information behind the food that when you're calorie counting, you ignore, basically. So calorie counting it gets you out of your body, it gets you overly simplified, and then it makes things so nice and neat. Like, how many times has nice and neat worked for you in terms of weight loss that you've kept off? Because nice and neat, it works for a little bit of time. But then life is complex. Food is complex. And so if you want to transform how you relate and digest and eat and think about food, you can't just do something that's simple. We need to embrace a complexity mindset. That food is incredibly complex. And for a lot of people, what comes up for that is anxiety. You know that food is complex. You know that this thing is emotional and that it's deep. It might be related to childhood. It might be related to how you perceive your worthiness, your habits. And that creates anxiety, a feeling of chaos in people. I get that, okay? I totally get that. Back in my days when I was wrestling, I would freaking binge eat the crap out of myself because I was so anxious about grades and pressure and, whether I'd be accepted at my peer group. All that created these anxious feelings, and I just wanted to control my diet to manage my anxiety. That's why calorie counting exists, so that you have a nice little neat way to manage your anxiety, and it doesn't work. Because when you try to manage your anxiety by a little Band-Aid solution, it's like cheating on a test. You do it for a little bit, but you don't get any results. You don't get any deep change. You might be able to, get a few days right, get it like the getting answers on a test right. You might be able to get a few days right, but you're not really gathering wisdom. You're going to forget. And do you really want to become reliant on a calorie counting device for the rest of your life where you always have to log food? Hell no. Do you see healthy people, quote unquote? Do Olympic athletes, not that you have to be an Olympic athlete, but do they calorie count? You might have a friend who is quote unquote healthy and calorie counts, but they're also obsessing about food. What about me? I'm a normal looking dude. I don't calorie count. There's so many people who don't calorie count. The majority of athletes, they don't calorie count. It's like, calorie counting, not many people do it. It's only people who are trying to lose weight and want to manage their anxiety. Now, I know this message might be hitting some people in a hard way, because oftentimes you've been told for years that calorie counting is the way to go, that your body is flawed, and that if you just it's almost like if the people assume that if you don't calorie count, if you put down the calorie counter, then all you have left is your body, and that's terrifying for people. Like, the terror comes up. Oh my God, how am I going to manage my weight? How am I going to manage my food if I don't calorie count? Well, that's where getting psychological, habitual mindset, training, for example, intuitive eating, these offer 10 principles, or this offers other principles. There's a broader picture going on that has you really learn how to learn food holistically. You want something holistic. A calorie counter is not holistic, okay? So that's my little rant about calorie counting. And go ahead and like the video. Really helps get the message out. Subscribe. And then just visit weightlossenlightenment.com and check out the site. Cool. Peace.